how to find basis of kernel. So there would be two different approach. One approach would be by the method of inspection, that we are calling it hit and trial method. So hit and trial method is not a good method. Sometimes it may work, sometimes you will get no result. So that's why more systematic approach or general approach is based on Gaussian elimination method that we had already seen in system of linear equations. So that is the general method. So if you understand algorithm approach of all these, then easily you can implement these problems there in R as well. And whatever software you will use there, easily you can implement there. So that's why I'm going to discuss in detail about that approach. So here, slide number 17. So are you able to see the slide? Anyone respond?
Yes, sir.
Slide is visible? Okay, fine. Then I'm going for uh, this class. So today we will discuss about linear independence and basis. Basis is very important here. And several way to find basis of a subspace. So I would like to discuss about that computer approach, how you can feed in computer. Same thing you can do in computer. That approach I will discuss. So that approach we are calling it algorithmic approach. So outline of my today's talks are the following. We will recall linear independence from the previous class as a recap. Then I will go to discuss about basis of two important subspace that we had already seen, the image of a matrix or a transformation. So always call it matrix. So sometime another name of linear algebra, people are calling it matrix algebra as well. So there is no much difference. Linear algebra also you can call it matrix algebra. Everywhere you are dealing with matrix. But if you go for infinite dimensional space, then there is extension of linear algebra that we are calling it functional analysis. Those concepts are very helpful there in machine learning as well. Linear algebra apart along with functional analysis. Then probably I will discuss four fundamental subspaces of A, because four fundamental subspaces again happens to be image and kernel of matrix. So different kind of scenario will come. So coming to first linear independence. So in last class I had already discussed linear independence. So here today I am going to discuss about algorithmic approach to identify linear independence or dependence. Independent. If vector happens to be independent, then simply we say that those vectors are not dependent. Or it happens to be independent, then simply we will say that those vectors are not independent. So that is the criteria. In simply, in short way, you can call it. You're talking about linear dependency. Dependency is a very general word. Whether it is independent or dependent, both will contain in dependency. Dependency. So one approach, we just try to see zero element or zero coordinate in the vector. So this approach we are calling it inspection. It is hit and trial method. It won't work everywhere. It will work only special cases. Like what we have to do for just inspection method. What is the algorithm? So consider we are having n number of n-dimensional vector, and suppose v1 is 0. We have to always, what we have to do, whatever vector we will get, we have to list in a proper order. So once we are having a proper ordering, we will look into first vector. If first vector is non-zero, then fine, we'll go further. Then if each of the vector vi I greater than equal to 2 has non-zero entry in a component, and other vector also have at least one non-zero entry in order to see linear dependency. If it is zero vector happens to be dependent always. So zero, we don't have to discuss much about that. What will happen? So we will try to see that VIs where all preceding vectors have zero. So what we will do? So we will take any from the list any vector Vi, and we will see that uh, there is a non-zero vector. Against that, we try to see in the previous. So we in the list we have, this is the V1, this is V2, this is V3 vector, likewise V4, and suppose we are having here in V5. So V5, we come across one non-zero entries. So suppose this is non-zero entries. Now, according to this non-zero entry, we travel back in the same coordinate. That means suppose non-zero entry, it is in the second coordinate, then you will see second entry of the all previous vectors. So suppose all previous vectors are having zero, then simply we can say that vector v1, v2, and v3 all are independent. It will clear from example. So here I have taken example. So what you do? Uh, call this vector v1. So we are having four vector v1, v2, v3, and v4. So what algorithm say? First approach is see v1. V1, is it zero? Not. It is v1 is non-zero. So first write down v1 is non-zero vector. So definitely it's fine. That means we can proceed further. That means there is a possibility of getting linear independency if v1 happens to be non-zero. So now we will come to v2. In v2, we observe a element where that element is zero, but against that in the v1 there we observe zero. So here we can observe here in the v2 this element is non-zero, it is 1, but in the same row if you proceed further, what you observe, it is zero here in v1. So simply we can claim that due to this we can claim that v1 and v2 are linearly independent. That means v1 is not cannot be written as a scalar multiple of v2, or v2 can better write in proper order. v2 cannot be written as a scalar multiple of v1. So here we conclude that v1 and v2 are linearly independent. Now we come across v3. In v3 we observe this element 7, and if you travel back along in the same row, what we observe? 0 in v2, also 0 in v1. So we know that we can't get 7 non-zero element from the linear combination of 0 element, and we get 7 can't be written as a linear combination of 0 elements. 7, so this element is totally different. So it simply says that in the similar process v3 can't be generated from v1 and v2. It says that v3 is also linear independent with v1 and v2. So we can't write v1 as a linear combination of previous two vector v1 and v2. It is not possible to write. So it simply says that v1, v2, and v3 are linearly independent. It is not possible to write. So it says that v1, v2, and v3 are linearly independent. Are linearly independent. So it is purely a method of inspection. It will not work everywhere. So here simply you can say that these are Li. Till V3 you have already seen Li. This one is Li. V1 and V2 are Li. You have already seen Li. Okay. And any non-zero vector, there is a single non-zero vector that always happens to be Li. So the V1 is also Li, single vector. If you are considering V1 only, not other, so single vector, non-zero vector always happens to be Li. Now we are coming to V4. In V4, we will try to find a specific entry in V4 so that if you travel back in the same row, you will observe zero entry in the previous vector. If you observe in such scenario, you can claim that V4 is again linearly independent with V1, V2, and V3. So here you observe 5 in the second row. If you travel back in the second row to V3, V2, and V1, you observe 0 in V1, 0 in V2, 0 in V3. So what does it say? It simply says that V4 also cannot be written as a linear combination of previous vectors V1, V2, and V3. So V alpha 2 times V2 plus alpha 3 times V3 plus, yeah, like this. So all these discussion claim that the vector, given vector, for these four vector V1, V2, V3 are linearly independent. Is it clear to everyone? Any doubt here? So you can say that these are. Is it clear to everyone? Anyone respond?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, fine. So this one is a method of inspection. Now next we will go for more general technique that is based on Gaussian elimination method. So here one example here I've taken. So suppose we are having three vectors from R3, V1, V2, V3. So we will see that whether these three vectors are linearly independent. So you can you are not able to observe zero element if you in the vector. So last method it will totally fail. That one is a failure here for to identify the given set of vector whether it is linearly independent or not. So last method inspect the hit through hit and trial you can't get dependency. So what you have to do, you have to go for a more systematic approach. So what we do? So here first we will see first two vector. So clearly from the vector itself we can observe that v1 we can v2 we can't write as a linear combination of v1 or a scalar multiple of v1 because v1 is having entry 1 2 3, it is having alag direction. In coordinate also in system you can look into v1 is in different line and v2 is different line. v1 suppose it is 1 2 3, this one is v1 and then v2 is different. So clearly from the picture it is very much clear that v1 and v2 are linearly independent. Now we have to look for v3. We don't know whether v3 is a linear combination of these two or not. So first step just by looking into v1 v2 there is no non-zero element, easily we can say them. And another vector we are having 2 2 2, then we can easily say that these two vectors call it u1 and u2. So u1 and u2 are dependent. Why? Because u1 is just a linear twice of v1. u1 is twice of u2. So that's why these two vectors are linearly independent. But if you come to see V1 and V2, these are not linearly dependent. They are linearly independent. So we have to see for third. So third, what we will do in a step 2, once we come across V1 and V2 are linearly independent, in a step 2, we will represent V3 as a linear combination of V1 and V2. That means, and we will try to find some non-zero. If you are getting some non-zero alpha 1 and alpha 2, then we can claim that V3 is linearly dependent. V3 is linearly dependent on V1 and V2. If you are unable to find any non-zero scalar alpha and alpha 2, then it will say that V3 is independent of V1 and V2. So that is the criteria. So if you try to look into this one, what is here? V1 is given. It is given. V2 is given. And V3 is also given. So what does it is talking about? It is talking about system of non-homogeneous equations. So this you can write. This is talking about system of non-homogeneous equation. This we can write as an augmented matrix like this way. Like if you open up this vector like this way, so alpha 1 times, I'm writing it as a system of linear equation or in matrix. So alpha 1 times 1, 2, 3 plus alpha 2 times V2. V2 is 4, 5, 6 equal to V3. What is V3? 7, 8, 9. So it is what? It is talking about a system of linear equation. So what system? So you can say that consider first vector V1 as a first column, 1, 2, 3. Second column it would come as V2, 4, 5, 6, and alpha 2 are unknown that we are willing to find. So times alpha 1. So we are giving a matrix representation of this linear combination equal to what? Equal to your V3. V3 is having coordinates 7, 8, 9. So this is, so what does it do? It is a system of linear equation. So now in order to get value of alpha and alpha 2, we have to solve it. So in order to solve in system of linear equation, we had already seen that we first need to write in augmented form. This is the augmented form of this system of linear equation. Then we are applying RREF. So row reduced equivalent form. So after applying row reduced equivalent form, we will get this reduced form. So from the reduced form, you have to again write this system of linear equation in reduced form. So if you are writing system of equation in reduced form, so what would be? It would be alpha 1. It will directly give solution alpha 1 equal to -1 and alpha 2 equal to -2. So what does it means? It means that V3 is a linear combination of V1 and V2. So simply we can say that this vector V1, V2, V3 are not linearly independent. Why? Because we got non-zero alpha 1 and alpha 2, so that V3 has been written as -V1 plus twice of V2. Yes, any question?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, as V1 is equal to 1, 2, 3, V2 is equal to 4, 5, 6. So the
Yes.
RREF will also give the values of V1 and V2 only, no? Alpha 1 and alpha 2's value, how did they come?
No, no, no. It is here. What is unknown? Unknown is alpha 1 and alpha 2. So just focus on this linear combination. We don't know for what alpha uh, this linear combination will give V3. We don't know. So here alpha 1 and alpha 2 we don't know. So that's why it has been written in terms of this one. This is calling system of linear equation. It is not just system of linear equation. So what is unknown here? Alpha 1 and alpha 2. You have to find alpha 1 and alpha 2. Just I have replaced x1, x2 by alpha 1 and alpha 2. The difference between system of linear equation and this system. Did you get the meaning? Hello?
Yes, sir. I thought, sir, at the place of alpha 1 and alpha 2, there would be IJK. That's why I got
No, no.
confused.
No, IJK, it is not like that. You are just observe things. What is variable here? Alpha 1 and alpha 2 are variable. We don't know those values. So we need to get those values. So here, that's why this representation is what in system of linear equation we had always seen that if we are having a system of linear equation, we are writing like this way: a1 x1 plus a1 2 x2 equal to b1. This one is the first equation. Second equation is a2 1 x1 plus 8 2 x2. So this is given system of equation, and we had gone to represent the system of equation in different form, variety of form. One form was row form. So this representation is row representation, and if you see this, it will come like this way: x1 times a11. We have to take common x1 21 plus x2 times a12 a22. This representation we are calling it column representation. You might have idea of that one from the previous classes. Equal to, here in right hand side column vector is b1 b2. This we are calling it column representation. So that's why here in case of x1 x2 we are having alpha 1 and alpha 2, and b1 b2 are the column vector, and this is b3 is the given column vector. So this is column. This representation we are calling it column picture. Column picture, you can call it column picture. And this column picture finally, in order to solve, you have always need to write in matrix form. So this one, to apply Gaussian elimination method, always you write in matrix form. So that's why you are writing age coefficient matrix, x is your variable equal to b. So that is the approach from system of linear equation. Okay, I think you might have already understood. So this is the algorithmic approach to establish linear dependency. So it will always, you will get success when you go through this approach. You will always get a proper solution. Now there is one more approach. This one is the third approach through that you can talk about linear dependency. That approach we are calling it a linear relation. It is nothing, just another way to say same thing as a system of linear equation. So we will introduce, so for given set of vector, we will introduce here a system of equation like this way as a linear relation. So what we do, we are trying to find a linear combination of this vector equal to 0, and we try to find a non-zero alpha for linear independence, and linear dependent, and 0. If we are getting all alpha is at 0, then we will simply say that it is linearly independent. So this relation we are calling it this equation we are calling it a linear equation. It is coming from due to these vectors. So if there is a trivial solution of this linear equation, so I had already expressed in last class. So this equation you can write it, capital V is talking about matrix, and alpha is talking about vector. So you can write it like this way. So capital V is the matrix having columns. First column as a first vector, second column as a second vector v2. Likewise, you will go up to rth column. And alpha is your vector having first coordinate alpha 1 and second coordinate alpha 2, likewise rth coordinate is alpha r. This is this representation we call it linear relation. This representation we are calling it system of linear equations. That is the, so either solve this or solve this. This approach also you can call it, it is a column picture of the same system of linear equation. This one is the matrix form, and that where you apply Gaussian elimination method. You are already familiar with this, so you need to apply Gaussian elimination method. And for this system, one by default solution is alpha. If you put alpha equal to 0, then this equation is already satisfied. So by default solution is 0. So that's why 0 is a trivial solution. We are calling it trivial solution. But to find a dependency, we have to look for non-trivial solution. If you are getting non-trivial solution for this system of equation, that means at least one alpha I is non-zero, then we can say that the vectors are linearly dependent. So that is all criteria here. Further, I had given some elaboration. So the relation between linear relation and kernel of a matrix. Kernel of a matrix is very important. If you are having m by n matrix, and suppose all the columns happen to be linearly independent, then what would be the kernel of the matrix? It is just finding solution of space of this system, where A is having columns v1 up to vn. So you have to find solution of space, and we come across that all VI's are linearly independent. So that means it has only one solution, and that solution is trivial solution. So kernel of in this case, that means the system is having only trivial solution. So kernel of the matrix, it would be a singleton set 0. If all columns of a matrix happen to be linearly independent, then directly you can find kernel of that matrix. It would be just contains only 0 element. So one example here I would like to take in order to find kernel of a matrix from the linear relation. So here you are taking a matrix, find here what you do in this matrix. It is totally different approach. Find a redundant vector. So how can you can observe that from the previous example, you had already seen that 7, 8, 9, it can be written as a linear combination of 1, 2, 3, and 1 minus 1 time 1, 2, 3, and 2 times 4, 5, 6. From the previous example, you had already seen that. So you can say that this P3 is, this third column is a redundant column. So if you write everything in left hand, bring everything in left hand side. So this due to redundancy, you can write it like this way. So what does it look like? It is talking about A times a particular factor. So particular factor, I will put it here, bar, x bar. A times x bar equal to 0. We can observe that A times x bar is equal to 0. So what is x bar? Is the particular solution of this system. Ax equal to 0. So I can call it like this way. If you want to write it bar, it's fine. Also, you can write it suffix p. So xp. Xp is the particular solution. What is xp here? Xp is 1 minus 2, 1. So it is it belongs to kernel of the matrix. This is similar to like a method of inspection kind of things. So it belongs to kernel of A. And what happens? There is a relation later I will talk about. If a subspace happens to be in such a way it is containing at least one non-zero element, then it contains a scalar multiple of all those non-zero elements, because kernel is a subspace. So kernel, this kernel of A, easily you can get it. It would be a linear combination of this vector. O alpha times 1 minus 2, 1. So this is your kernel of A. You are getting. So it is just one trial method directly you are getting while establishing dependency. I want to skip few things here. So there are various representation of linear dependence. I won't go in detail here. I would like to go to this segment. Basis is very important. So here I will talk about two algorithmic approach to find basis of a subspace. So basis of a subspace, I had already told that if you are taking uh, r number of vector from a subset V of Rn, then when these vector will form a basis, so it has to satisfy two criteria. First one is linear span of this vector must be equal to V. That means this vector must span V, linear span. In short, you can say that it is L linear span of V1, V2, V3. That means all possible linear combination. Likewise, you will go up to VR. The linear span, all possible linear combination of this given vector R vector V, it must be equal to vector space this V. And second condition is saying that so V1, V2, V3, all these are Li, linearly independent. So these two are very important for being basis of a subspace. Must be Li, must be Li. So whenever there is a subspace, if you want to find basis, you have to check for these two conditions. Okay, and this one is secondary requirement that this vector R number of vector must come from Vi V. So we are considering a matrix. That means we are taking three vector. Matrix means we are taken three vector. This 3 by 3 matrix. So we have taken three-dimensional vector, and we will see that whether this vector is forming a basis of kernel or image or not. So that we will. So here, with respect to this matrix, we are having two subspace. One is kernel of A, another one is image of A. So those criteria will look into. So here, in order to find subspace, where we will look for this basis of structure. So first we find the subspace image of A. So it can be established from the previous example we had all seen that V3 can be written as a linear combination of V1 and V2. So we can say that V3 is redundant while V1, V2 are linearly independent. So we can say that the image of A, this subspace, or call it V, the image of A subspace. It is a linear combination of only first two vectors, V1 and V2. That means linear span of V1 and V2. So easily, so what does it mean? So this image of A is having a basis. What is the basis? Basis is having only two elements, two vector. Among three, only two vector. One vector is V1. That means 1, 2, 3. Another vector is 4, V2, 4, 5, 6. So these two vectors in together form a basis. It is a basis of this image space. It is a basis of this image space. You can see that. So what? Just you have to look into two property. One property it says that it must be linear span of V. So linear. So you have already seen that it is a linear span of V. So first property is already guaranteed. That means linear span of beta. Is beta containing only two vector. It is equal to image of this one. And second property it also satisfy. You can easily say that V1 and V2 are linearly independent. You can observe that linear independence. Same example I am taking just to make things unified. So R Li satisfy both property of being a basis of a subspace. So that's why we are saying that these two V1 and V2 are forming a basis of image A. Now, if you are having a basis, then with respect to every element, we can talk about unique representation. Like if you are in R2, what is the basis of very simple basis of R2? That basis of R2 is unit vector in the direction of x1 and in the direction of x2. So one first unit vector, this one 1 0 and 0 1, and this representation you had already seen several where. So this axis we are calling it x1. So here every point is having unique representation. Suppose if you are taking a point here, what would be this point? It would be 1 and minus 1. This point. So what is it? 1 and minus 1 is having no two different representation. It is having unique representation. That means it is talking about 1 times 1 0 plus minus 1 time 0 1 minus 1 time 0 1. It is having unique representation. We can't get two different. It doesn't have two different representation. There is no another representation. Like we will say that alpha 1 another vector 2 times 1 0 and 3 times 4 something like that. We can't say that. So there is no other representation. Only it is having only this representation. So we can't go for this. It is not possible to find another representation alpha 1 times alpha 2, where alpha 1 is not equal to 1 and alpha 2 is not equal to 2. It is not possible. Alpha 2 is not equal to minus 1. It is not possible to get. Uniqueness means it is having only one representation. So where alpha 1 is here for second representation, I am writing it alpha 1 is not equal to 1 and alpha 2 is not equal to minus 1. So this is impossible. With respect to this basis, it is impossible. So every vector in a given subspace is having always unique representation. That is the criteria. So consider we are having d number of vector from in a subspace V of n dimensional Euclidean space Rn, and then vector v1 up to vd it will form a basis of V if and only if every vector from the given subspace V can be expressed uniquely as a linear combination of these d number of vector. So that means if you are taking V, then with respect to V, we are getting a unique representation of V in terms of V1, V2, and Vd. So that means here alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, and up to alpha d are uniquely determined from V. Uniquely. So alpha 1, alpha 2, up to alpha d is unique with respect to, these are unique. You can't take another one. They are unique with respect to, you will come across later after doing a lot of practice, you will understand all this. Unique with respect to V. So that means these scalars happen to be unique with respect to every vector. If you are having a, sorry, this must be a small, it is not capital. Vector always, I had already mentioned that we will denote vector by a small number. Unique with respect to V. So one representation you can look into here of these two, call it V1 and V2. So linear span of these two vectors. So it is a subspace. So we are writing like as a linear combination of this V1 and V2. And what you do here, if you keep on changing Y1 and Y2, Y2 and Y3, Y1 is dependent on Y2 and Y3. So here Y2 and Y3 are free variable. Keep on changing your free variable. So with respect to that, you will get Y1. So here every point will have unique representation. Suppose someone is willing to find representation of y2. If you take 2 and y3 you are taking 1, then we have, through this relation we observe that y1 is dependent on y2 and y3. So what would be value of y1? We can't take y1 separately because y1 is dependent on y2 and y3. That's why what would be value of y1? So it would be minus 2 times 2 minus 4 minus 3. Minus 4 minus 3 is minus 7. So this vector. So this vector is having unique representation. It is having only one representation. What is that representation? It is saying that it is you have taken y2 2. That means 2 times vector v1, 2 times minus 1 minus 2 0 1 1 0 plus 1 time v v2. That one is minus 3 0 1. There is a unique representation for this vector. Given vector minus 7 2. If you are willing to take another vector, like suppose you are taking y2 equal to 1 and y3 equal to 2, then what would be your y1? Y1 is dependent on y2 and y3. So y1 would be minus 2 minus 6. Minus 2 minus 6 is, so if you minus 8. So this one is having a unique representation. That representation we are calling it one time vector v. I'm shortcut I'm writing it one time. You can say that it is one time v plus twice of second vector v2. So every vector, the point in R3 is having in the plane, in this plane, it is coming with respect to two vectors, so it will a plane. Call it a vector space V, subspace V. In plane, if you take any point from this plane, then that point have to satisfy this equation. Due to that, you are getting this kind of point. So that point is again uniquely you can write in term of a linear combination of V1 and V2. That is the criteria. Unique representation. Every vector is having unique representation. So here, algorithmic approach to find basis of image. This one is very important. What is the algorithmic approach to find basis of image? So one first approach is by inspection, and second approach I will talk about by proper a general formula. So what we do in order to find basis of a image of matrix, so you first have to list all the columns of the vector matrix, given matrix. Column vector is in the given matrix in a proper order vectors. So this was one approach of 4 columns. This call this one v1, this one v2, this one v3, this one v4. Okay, so in 4 column, first criteria we have listed this column in a proper order, v1, v2, v3. So this one is the step 1. What is v2 and vectors? So remove v2 and v4 from the list. And what is the remaining thing that will construct form a basis of your image? So it is there are a basis finding basis of image. It is a step process algorithm. In 3 steps, you can find basis of image things. Okay, if I wind up today's class, it is already 45 minutes. Anyone is having any question? Regarding attendance, you go and mark